Hello.
Hello, how's it going? How's it going?
Good.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you too. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yes, ma'am. Hey, I'm really excited to have you on here, and I'm like, wow, I'm just like, I can't believe it. This is gonna be so cool. I
Well,
want to
thank-
thank you again for coming on to the Ones and Twos podcast. Little old Texas guy like me, we got a superstar. Are you living in New York right now?
No, I'm actually in Nashville.
Okay,
I
wow, that's where my mom is from.
Oh, really? Well, that's
Yeah,
pretty
she's
awesome.
from She's from Music City, Nashville,
Oh,
Nashville.
so
All
cool.
right.
Man, it's
Yes,
so
ma'am.
nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. We got to meet in person sometime.
I would like that. Do you come to
Y-
Nashville very much?
Now, you know what's funny? I have so much family up there, but I never go there because I'm always so busy DJing here in Dallas, and I've taken up gigs in Houston now too. So, it takes up a lot of my time, but I
Yeah.
will definitely try to come to Nashville sometime
All right. Well, when
just to see
you
you,
do,
of
you
course.
better let me know.
I sure will. I sure will. All right, guys. So it's your boy DJ Kane, Ones and Twos podcast. If you guys are listening on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, whatever platform, make sure you like and subscribe and follow our guest, Ones and Twos podcast. And I forgot to give her flowers before she came in. Hold on. Let's see if I can find the right button, y'all. There it is. There it is.
Yes.
Hand claps all around. All right. So let's get into it. So where exactly are you from?
I'm originally from Oklahoma.
Okay.
I'm an Okie from Muskogee.
I
That's my
hear it.
best
I hear
country
it.
twang, baby.
Okay. Okay. Are you familiar with Red Dirt Country?
I am not.
Okay. I'm from Wichita Falls.
Okay.
So we're about 20 minutes from Oklahoma. And we used to be in a band. Well, we never had a name, but our genre was Red Dirt Country.
Oh,
And it was like country music, but a lot of distortion on the guitar. And I was like, I wonder if this is like a overall Oklahoma thing, or is this something that we just made up?
well, I love that. That sounds cool. That's a cool kind of
Yeah,
country. I like it.
I'll have to send you some stuff. Shouts to my boy Kyle Stallings of the Kyle Stallings band. That was his whole thing. So yeah, we used to do a lot of shows with them. So okay, so you're from Oklahoma and you're now living
I live in Nashville.
in Nashville now.
I lived in New York for like 16 years in NYC, and I moved back to Nashville to go out on tour with Rascal Flatts.
Nice.
And that tour ended, and I've done numerous tours since then, and then the pandemic hit, and then
Yeah.
and then things have shifted since then. But I'm still doing some touring and just a lot of different things, lots of cool musical things. So
Yeah. Well, that's really good.
I
That's really
actually
good.
have a dance single out right now called Fly with DJ Macau.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to check that one out. Make
Yeah.
sure to send me that link. I'm gonna definitely check that single out. When you say
Okay.
a dancing was more like disco house EDM type music.
Yeah. Well, it's not really EDM. It's just more fun pop dance kind of stuff.
Okay.
And
Okay.
we've got like 7 different DJs around the world that have done remixes, and they're about to do a big blast on it right now. So
Oh wow, that's really
yeah.
exciting. That's so exciting. I definitely got to check that out. And also, hold on, y'all. Let me press the right button. Okay, we got it. Yes. I'm on a new board today, so it's like I'm
Are
trying to
you
get acclimated to the buttons over here.
right?
They didn't label these, so what made you want to take music seriously? I read on your bio that you've been doing music since you were like a little girl, and of course, I can hear in the voice. Grew up in the gospel. I
Yeah.
can already tell.
You can, right?
I can. So, what made you want to like really take it seriously, especially at such a young age, where you just felt like this is what I want to do?
I just love, I mean, just from even knowing about, well, first of all, growing up in the church, my dad's a pastor.
Mhm.
So, and my mom too, and they were all very musical and still are. And I grew up in a very musical family. So at a young age, I was singing in church, singing, Jesus Loves Me and all that stuff.
Right.
And I just loved the reaction I got. I was like, I like this. I like all this attention. So,
Okay.
No, but it just wasn't that. Music was just a part of my soul. And I wanted to be the best singer that I could be. And I just loved it so much. I would listen to records nonstop of my favorite artist. And then I practice every day. I would come home from school and, my dad, like I said, is a pastor. He's not pastoring now. He's retired. But anyhow, when he was pastoring, I would just every day after school, I would go out to the church because we lived in the parsonage right next door to the church. So I would go out there every day and practice for hours and just dream and, imagine what's it going to be like to actually get out there and do this one day. And I never could have imagined all the different people I was going to get to work with, a lot of my heroes that I would listen to on the radio. Growing up, I've gotten to sing and write and just do all kinds of cool things. So,
man, that's a blessing. So, growing up singing, where there's some songs that Papa was like, no, you better not be singing that type song.
Of course.
Yeah. That's how it was
really
with me.
Weren't even allowed, as a young child, to even listen to pop radio or rock and roll.
Wow.
Pretty much, it was just all about gospel music and the church, and got a little older and they kind of chilled out about that, and I listened to everything, And then I moved to Nashville and then I got acquainted with jazz and R&B.
Oh yes,
soul,
yes,
and all that stuff is what is my favorite, other than gospel. So
I saw that you did work with Norah Jones.
I did. I got to. I met Norah Jones before she was Norah Jones.
Really?
We shared a night. A bill together one night for BMI when I lived in New York City, and I was one of the solo artists on the show, and I think it might have even been that night that she got discovered by the guy who wrote those big songs for her.
Wow.
So but so I got to know her before she became this huge, star. And that's the beauty, I think, of living in a city like New York City, is like, you just never know who you're going to meet and who is going to become a big star, or, and you just never know who you're going to come across there, and who's going to be your advocate in that.
Right.
City. So anyhow, it's been such a wonderful ride,
Right. You're exactly right, because it's like, and that's why that golden rule that they tell us back in the day, that has to apply across the board. Because like you say, you never know who you're going to meet. There's been DJs I've met, producers I've met since I was a teenager. And it's like now, I'm in my 30s now, and I see them doing big things in Atlanta and stuff like that. And we keep in contact. And I'm like, you know what? If I was being, we're not going to cuss on this episode, but if I was being, an a-hole back in the day, I'm pretty sure people remember things that you do. And it's like, man, you never know where they're going to carry on in the future. So it's good to have those connections and just be nice to everybody, because as musicians, we're all in this together. This is a community.
That's what it comes down to. And I know for myself, like, I love community. I really like it. Just means more to me than just about anything out there. Without community, what do you really have? Especially, in the music community, you the longer you're in it, the smaller it is. That the smaller it becomes.
Yeah. So. I definitely agree. So it's like, what? Okay, hold on. I got a lot of questions, so I'm trying to get everything organized. And I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the episodes where I'm actually a little nervous. You know what I mean? I'm a little nervous. So
be nervous now.
And that rarely happens, because if y'all see me when I'm DJing anywhere, man, y'all see that wild side DJ Kane come out. But this episode is very special, and I'm just gonna get into the question. When I first heard about you, and you probably get this a lot, from a particular video game called Sonic Adventure 2. And I was like, middle school when that came out. And there was a song on there that I just fell in love with. Like I like the Knuckles part too, but the Rogue theme, just everything around the Fly and the Freedom song. And I was like, man, this is a jamming song. And I remember playing it in the kitchen when I was playing my video game, and my mom heard the music. She's like, hey, that's a cool. And she was jamming out. She's like, they got jazz on your video game? I'm like, yeah, I guess. So, I line-wired the song, and I would listen to it over and over. And I'm like, man, this is so cool. And then, later on, I got to see who the artist was. Like, oh, Tabitha Fair. Is like, man, she's really extremely talented. And now I'm actually talking to you. I was like, man, that's crazy. So tell us a little bit behind that. Like, how did that collaboration come about between you and, I guess, Sega was the company that booked you for that? Or
So, of course, I just moved to New York City and was really starting to make my way there. And I actually, this company is I still work with them. They're management jingle company, Them Nation. And so through them, I got this gig, and through my roommate at the time too, Todd Cooper, who is also on that project. So that was kind of how it all came about. And, it's been so many years ago that it's hard.
I still jam it.
Remember all the details, but what's really cool about it is that it's just that particular music has just I've just gotten so many wonderful reactions from people like yourself about the music, and it warms my heart, That's something that I did that long ago. It made such an impact,
Yeah.
It's a video game, and
it is.
Song made an impact like it did, and my vocals and that people go, oh, I know you through that. That's cool.
Yeah. It's crazy. That video games is actually how I got into music, like Super Mario Bros, Smash Bros. There's really not a lot of music people in my family at all. I mean, I think I had an uncle that used to play harmonica, but nobody that really took it like serious. You know what I mean? So I used to play video games all the time. Grew up as an only child. So it's like, I just eventually started banging on stuff and was hitting on, everything. My mom got me some drumsticks. Next thing you know, a small keyboard. And then since I'm an only child all alone by myself, just started making my own music. Got into, Reason Adapted, made my own beats, and it was all inspired by like video game music. And I was like, man, I don't think people really understood back in the day. It's like the Atari, all that stuff, all that 16-bit sound stuff. It's like, no, we actually have video game music that's like full orchestras, like jazz singers, hip hop singers. It's like, it's legit music when your kids are playing video games. So they're being exposed to classical music, jazz, and all these different genres. So I mean, that just kind of bled onto me, and the next thing you know, I'm playing all this stuff. So man, it's just crazy. But speaking of genres, there's one particular genre that this is very new to me, and I really want to know something about this. You're of Native American descent.
Yes.
Chickasaw.
Yeah.
And you do Chickasaw pop. And I've heard one of your songs on YouTube, and I was like, okay, I can kind of hear the Native American influence from the flute, or I don't know if it's really called a flute. Maybe there's another name for it, but kind of tell us something about Chickasaw pop, because this is pretty cool. What is Chickasaw pop?
Well, I think Chickasaw pop definitely has some of those native rhythms, native instruments. I think the native instruments really what makes it more native pop.
Okay.
I've been doing music with the Chickasaws off and on for a long time now. And unfortunately, like, I don't speak the language, but I've actually had to phonetically learn Chickasaw to sing it,
Okay.
but it's it's such a wonderful heritage, and my uncle is actually the governor of his name.
Oh wow.
Tubby, and so that's my maiden name is Anna Tubby. So
Anna Tubby. Okay.
Yeah, so that's so I come from quite a pretty impressive line of chiefs and that kind of thing in my family. I think my dad's father was also a chief. So
Okay.
now my uncle
That's
has been for over 30 years, maybe about 40 years now. They love him.
oh
So
wow.
they just, he gets reelected and reelected and reelected. He's actually
Okay.
out in the Oklahoma Hall of Fame as well. So yeah.
Wow. That's really cool. Are there other singers like you in now? Is it called a tribe, the Chickasaw tribe?
Yes.
Or okay. So out of the tribe that you know and from your area, are you like the only like singer, or are there other singers like you who are doing what
No,
you're doing?
there are other singers as well.
Okay.
Yeah, there are other singers. I don't know them, but
Hmm.
I know that there are.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. Now you said, now I was going to ask you if you did music in the Chickasaw language, and you said that you don't know the language. So, but are there, since this is a genre that's pretty niche, are there like people that do Chickasaw music that do it in the language, similar to the style you do it too, or?
Um, I think there probably are. I don't,
Hmm.
like I said, I don't know. I haven't researched it out, but
Right.
but yes, and they have a really cool thing every year. I don't know if they're having it because of the pandemic right now, but
Uh,
um, they have the Native American Music Awards, and
yeah.
I was actually one of the songs I did for this movie called Teata
Uh,
Toward the Rising Sun was nominated
yeah.
a couple years
Okay.
back. So I was nominated for one of those awards. We didn't win, but we were nominated, which is really cool.
Okay.
so,
Okay.
so yeah,
I
so they,
got the
they
right
act-
button on that one.
so yeah, so they actually do have awards and that kind of thing for Native American music, and
Okay.
yeah, I was going to say something else, but I totally forgot. Now that happens.
Oh no. Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Let me do it. Check to see if we're still there. This Instagram thing is kind of pausing up. Okay, we're back.
Awesome.
Once again, it's your boy DJ Cam. We got Tabitha Fair in the building today. 1's, 2's podcast. If you're listening on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, whatever other podcast platform we have, SoundCloud's also a big one. We got YouTube. Well, I probably already said that, but if you're listening right now, make sure to follow Tabitha Fair. She's the one and only. And like I said earlier, if y'all play Sonic Adventure 2, you know who this is. You know who this is. And you're finding out a lot more about her too. So make sure you follow my girl right now on
Thank
Instagram. All right. So I got to get down to the nitty gritty. I have another podcast platform I got called Nitty Gritty, me and my two other homeboys. And we have this thing called Nitty Gritty where we get down to the nitty gritty, no filters, no anything.
Cool.
So I got to keep it nitty gritty with you. You're a professional singer.
Yes.
And I've heard so many singers. I used to be in concert bands. DJing wasn't my first thing. I used to be a percussionist, played piano for a few years, started DJing about 6 years ago. And I've been around so many singers. I've heard so many people say, hey, yo, DJ Kane, here's my friend's record, man. My girl can sing. My girl can sing. And I listen to it. I'm just like, okay. I hear him live. I'm like, okay. So it's just so many people that claim that they can sing. I can sing, or I can sing. What really makes a good singer, like a good quality singer? To you, what really makes a really good singer?
Well, okay. So a really good singer knows how to connect. They know how to connect to the lyrics, to the emotion of the song, and they also know how to connect to the musical layers inside of a song. And then on top of that, beautiful tone, rhythm. I consider myself a rhythmic singer.
Okay.
So like a pocket singer. And I love pocket singers. They're some of the best. Like Aretha Franklin, one of the best pocket singers ever,
Interesting. When you say pocket, do you mean like they're not really risky on the range, or?
They're just in the groove. Like they
Okay.
how to pocket a groove when they're singing a song. They're not too far ahead of it, not too far in back of it. They're just right in the groove.
Interesting. Okay.
They also can play with groove. They can play with groove inside. Like if you think of one of those type of singers, think of Ella Fitzgerald. she had to pocket a song and do all these cool scats and runs and yeah, one of the finest singers of our lifetime, Ella Fitzgerald, and Aretha Franklin too. So yeah, so for me, like a great singer knows how to draw you in with dynamics and with the storyline, with their voice, with the tone, with everything, you know, and then pitch. I mean, it's hard for me to listen to a pitchy singer, you know. But if they have some emotion and grit behind what they're doing, they can be pitchy, you know. I mean, it's really they don't have to be perfect. I honestly don't like perfect. Give me something that is real, it's heartfelt, a great song. It's like you got to have a great song. That's
yeah. I agree. Like, you don't like stuff that's too calculated, something that's more feeling, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you want to have all of that in there. And, you know, and I also think, you know, there are those young singers who they have quite a great depth, you know, to draw from. But I find that the more seasoned artists are probably what I would gravitate towards, just because they have more
same here
and that kind of thing. Yeah.
And a lot less auto-tune.
Exactly.
I cannot stand that. I think it is an instrument, you know, just like people think I'm a DJ. They don't think I'm a musician. I'm like, whatever. But
right.
I know. I'm just like, okay, whatever. But the auto-tune is an instrument, and I just feel that, you know, it is way overused. I like the way see, the thing is like, there's people that sing that still use it, and that's why I say it's like an instrument. Chris Brown, amazing singer, but he uses auto-tune to just add a little bit of sauce on it. T-Pain is not a singer, but like you said about layers and depth, his auto-tune is a lot different because he like harmonizes with it. And I'm like, yo, that's pretty hard, because you're going over a track singing like maybe like a C diminished, and you're like doing all 4 notes. I'm like, okay, so you're doing it right. But most of the stuff that I get, that people send me records or stuff that I see my DJ pull or whatnot, it's just saturated with this auto-tune. It's just everywhere. And I'm just like, you know what? And they're R&B songs. I'm like, when are we gonna bring back the old school like crooning style, like where people are really just singing like it's coming straight from the heart, from the diaphragm? Like, is that ever gonna come back? Because
I pray it does, because there's nothing better than somebody who has done the work. Like, they've done the development, they've worked on their instrument, and they respect that instrument to the point to where they go get lessons and they develop that skill. It's a skill set, right?
Yeah.
Not just something. It's not something to get you famous. It's a true skill set that you develop, and that you can't. It's like you can't not do it. You know, as an artist, it's one of those things where you just have that burning desire. I have to do this. There's nothing else that I am meant to do on this earth but be an artist. And so for me, that's the way it was as a young kid. That's why I had that burning desire to become the best that I could become. And the thing is, you never stop learning. It's like you're growing and learning, and something day when it comes to music, you know. And
never stop.
So it's such a beautiful craft, and that's what it is. And people, I want to see these young artists coming up really develop their craft. And they can get in front of a microphone in the studio or live, and they can just blow us away with their with their skill set. So.
Yeah, I really don't hear too much of it, because I go to studios often, and it's like, and again, y'all know the Nitty Gritty podcast, I keep it nitty gritty. The first thing the sound engineer does, cue up the reverb, got the auto tune before they even sing in the mic. And I'm like, you're an you're singing on the hook, right? I was like, I know he was rapping, but you're singing. And I'm just like, when is it gonna change? Because it's like, this is why when I play old school joints, Aaliyah, Ashanti, Luther Vandross, when I'm DJing those joints, people really gravitate to it because they could feel it. You know, it's real feeling behind that. So, like you said, maybe the newer cats will start to realize that, hey, you know what, I could really blow people away if I really practice and hone on to my voice and just hit them with something that's not oversaturated with all this other stuff. And speaking of practice, practice. I don't think a lot of musicians really, especially rappers and singers, do you think a lot of us like practice? Do you think people are practicing the correct way? Because there's a lot of people who think that that I guess got professional training coming up as singers, and some that didn't. So as far as practicing, do you think that we should still practice every day, even though you are doing this full time or whatever, you got your things going? Should we still practice?
Absolutely, because the thing is, there's a lot of other people out there that want the same thing, right? So
yes.
So if you want to be the best, you got to really practice and you got to hone those skills so that when you get an opportunity, you're ready for it. And that's like, you want to be ready for those opportunities. And the only way to get those opportunities is to go out there, sing as much as you can, get on stage, do open mic nights. If you're a songwriter, write every day. If you're a pianist, play every day. If you're a singer, sing. And the only way to get better is just to get as much experience and challenge yourself. If there's something that you can't do and you want to do, go for it. If you want to improve your range, find some technical exercises that you can do to help you do that, or go to a great vocal coach, and get the proper training. Because what you don't want to do is do things that could hurt your voice. I'm a vocal coach as well, so.
Oh yeah, I could tell you have a lot of experience. What would you say? Like, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So yeah, I do that as well. So so the thing is, when I get with an artist at the beginning, and they're a new student, new client, the first lesson is just about like, let's work on our technique, but let's do it correctly. You don't want to do technique incorrectly because you could hurt yourself. Perfect practice. Not just practice, perfect practice. Yes, that's it. So yes, so to your question, yes, practice is every day. Yeah, I just think that a lot of folks, especially newer artists, I think it's like the finances and stuff like that, finding the vocal coach, finding a good one. Maybe that could be too expensive for a lot of young cats. I've had people that have sent me like their kids' music, and their kids are like 16, 17. Hey, my daughter's a singer. Can you play her music? And, I'm just like, you know what? It's not really there yet. She's trying a little bit, but if she got coaching, but then I was like, man, some of these coaches are kind of pricey and to kind of, whatever. So usually the alternative for a lot of people is to go to college and maybe major in music or vocal performance. But, for those that maybe can't afford the music lessons or whatnot, or college, what would be some basic practice techniques, And I know, just singing a song is a good one, but what are some like real technical techniques they can use to kind of practice? Well, first of all, you said singing a song. Okay. So let's just talk about that for a minute. So some of our favorite artists, like for me, like Aretha Franklin, Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, you can go down the list of really, great singers, and whether they're male or female, you can learn from those singers just from hearing them sing those songs. And you can kind of manipulate your voice the same way they are. And that will also help you develop a good skill set. because you're kind of copying what they're doing. And they're some of our best teachers. And the other thing is, I mean, you know, you can actually go on YouTube and you can Google vocal techniques, you know. You also have to be careful with that because, you know, you want to make sure that they're doing them correctly.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
So there's one exercise that I truly love. It's like my favorite one, and it is probably the most difficult out of all of the vocal exercises. It's the lip bubbles. Have you ever heard of those? They're called
I have not.
Trills, lip bubbles. They go like this.
You know, when I took trumpet lessons, I think we did something like that.
Yeah, and you could do scales, or you could do sirens.
Okay.
And then there's tongue trills. Those are good to do too, and they literally work everything: your breath support, your range, you know, placement, vocal placement. So there's just a lot that goes into singing. People don't even realize because there's so many different musical. When you talk about musical layers, you talk about vocal technique. Then you talk about also like harmonics, you know. And I've earned my living singing backup for like so many people going on tour, and so you got to have a good ear. You got to be able to hear those harmonies so quickly.
Yeah.
And so there's just a lot of different, depending on what your thing is, you know. Because there are singers who don't hear harmonies. There are singers who just sing lead. They just sing melody, you know.
Right.
But I always think, hey, develop that ear so that you can sing harmonies, so that you have really great pitch, relative pitch, you know.
Relative pitch. I'm glad that you said that because when I took music class in high school, my teacher would always tell us, no matter what instrument you play, you want to get relative pitch so you can kind of understand the rest of the band. And try to always practice with a piano. Like when you did that, what does it sound like, a C major? You know, play it on the piano and press the key so you can kind of get your pitch close to that. A well-tuned. If y'all are watching, get an electric keyboard, because if y'all been to some of these music practice buildings on campus, a lot of these pianos be out of tune. Get the electric ones. But
go get an electric. Or you know, I would say probably electric piano.
Yeah,
the best way to go for pitch, because you know I work with people who play guitar and they play their instruments, and some people can't find their pitch without their instrument. You know? Yeah. So that's a whole other thing. You know, when you think about ear training, you know, it's just it takes a lot of focus. If you person who have a hard time with pitch, you know, it's a process. It takes time to kind of get your body and your mind and everything in line with pitch. But if you do it every day, you can. And
I definitely agree.
Use numbers. That helps.
When you said use numbers.
Yes, because music is mathematics, right?
Right.
So if you're talking about a major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. So kind of like solfege a little bit.
Exactly.
Okay.
Using numbers. So.
Okay. Well, hey man, you guys heard it first. Practice. Even my DJ friends, backspins, crab scratches. We got to still practice, because some nights when we play, our fingers get a little rusty because we didn't practice that week for that gig, and you're playing that hip hop tune. You didn't practice your crab scratches. Practice. No matter what instrument, I believe we'd all should practice. And like you said, we can always learn new things. You know, music is always moving, whether it's moving back, forward. It's, you know, music is dancing itself. You know, it's going back, it's going forward. I mean, old school stuff is coming back again. You guys heard in the records, like, they're sampling so many old school R&B joints in hip hop now. You know what I mean? So it's always evolving. So this next part, you know, I have a question for you, and it's like, you've had a long span in this music game. You're very experienced. You've seen a lot. I've seen your bio, and I'm just mind blown. You've performed with some of the greatest artists on the face of the earth.
Mm.
Barack Obama.
Yes.
You've performed with him, and I'm just like, this is mind blowing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is crazy. So it's a lot that has gone on with your career and your continuing career. So what would you say out of all that has been the highest moment of your career so far? Just the highest moment.
Well, there've been a couple, I would say. Maybe there are several. I mean, of course, getting to sing at the inauguration for Obama, and that was I got to do Clinton's, and then I got to do Obama's too, which was really cool. That's an honor, and just to be out on the mall and see the sea of people out there. You know, we're talking like thousands of people out there, and then it's also televised, so it's almost surreal and almost overwhelming. So you can't even really think about it. You just get up there and do what you do. You just take it all in because it's such a surreal moment. And then the other thing was I got to write with Carole King, and a song that I wrote with her was in a film, and I got to sing it. And that was another highlight for me because she's such a legendary songwriter and artist. And then I would say one of the highlights, big like performance highlights, was when I got to do Sting's 60th birthday.
Oh my gosh.
City, and all the people who were a part of that, who I got to
Sting
with.
From the Police, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So my mom loves him.
I love him too. And so that for me was such a highlight, getting to do that gig. And it's you can watch it on YouTube. It's Sting's 60th birthday at the Beacon. And so Stevie Wonder was one of the artists. And, I mean, Lady Gaga, the list goes on. It was
my gosh.
Mary J. Blige. It was just a beautiful, beautiful night of music, and the band was like the who's who in the music industry. Vinnie Colaiuta on drums, and we're talking the best musicians. It was like 2 weeks of pure musical heavenly bliss. It was just amazing.
Wow. It kind of reminds me of like going, and I'm pretty sure you've been to NAMM.
Yes, I've gotten to perform at NAMM.
Wow.
They used to have this thing called the Yamaha Groove Night, and it was like all some of the legendary drummers who were endorsed by Yamaha that I got to do. You know, several years in a row, I was in the band, and we would play with all these legendary drummers. It was so much fun.
Yeah, that's so cool. Like, every time, I've only been to NAMM once. I got invited plenty of times, but shouts out to the Nexus Music Group. Went out in 2019 for the very first time in California. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, I'm just looking around like, this is like Toys R Us on steroids.
Right.
I'm seeing everything, every musical instrument I could ever imagine. I'm just like, I want to play on that. I want to play on that. I want to play on that. I want to touch that. I want to play on that. I want to meet that guy. I want to meet that guy. It's like, oh, we only have 2 days to be here. Right. It's just like, it was so surreal. And I met so many musicians that aren't like, famous, but have done so much work for some of the top artists in the industry. And they're so nice, so friendly. Everybody just wants to shake hands and say, hey, how's your day? Oh, this is what I do. What do you do? And I was like, man, this is like crazy.
Well, listen, the music industry is a people business. It's
yes.
You can't do music without people. I mean, you got to have people, buy the records, people to come to the show, go to the shows, people to play with in a band. You can't do it on your own. You got to have people. It's a people business.
Right. So you would say this is definitely not a game for introverts.
I mean, there are introverts in the music business, but there are people who are a little nutty,
especially in the DJ world. I know.
But it's who it's like making those connections and open to talking to people and making those connections. But I find like in my career, preparation is key.
Mm-hmm.
Prepare so that when you do get to the gig, you're confident and you're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
That is your calling card, basically. If you can go and be
Yeah.
confident, do the gig right, you know the music, you've done the work, then people will call you back and they will recommend you for this recording session or that gig,
Mm-hmm.
and have a good attitude. That's the other thing.
Always.
Be phenomenal, but if you're an a-hole, nobody will want to be around you.
Yes.
They
I
will.
tell you.
Like, oh, she's just so great. Okay, let's have her, even though she's an a-hole. But mostly people don't want to. So,
yeah.
It's important, you know, to just be a good person and do good work, you know, and then you're gonna get hired and you're gonna get called, and then you can hopefully do that for somebody else someday. So
yeah, pay it forward as always.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I mean, I try to do that with people is because I always find I'm not right for everything, you know, and I think it's good to know that about yourself.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's good.
So you can recommend people and help other people, because I look at it like this: whatever is supposed to be mine will be mine, and whatever is supposed to be theirs will be theirs. And if I can help them get theirs, I love that.
Yeah, I love that too, you know, and it's crazy because in the DJ community, it's kind of like that. It's very, I mean, it's cutthroat in every community, but it's like in the DJ world, it's so hard to find those people that just want to grow in the community, because it's like in Dallas, we're a big city, but it's not really like a lot of venues like LA or New York, Atlanta, California, stuff like that. So it gets pretty cutthroat. And if y'all been around in Dallas a lot, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But there's always those good people that just are like, hey, I was in your spot before, I'm gonna pay it forward. As long as I see you working hard, you know, they paid for it. So, and they keep the DJ community growing. So we've been in the game a long time. I mean, I'm sorry, let me reword it. You have been in the game a long time, singing for a very long time. High moments, but we also have very low moments in our careers.
Yes.
And we all go through them. So if you would like to share maybe like a low moment that you've had in your career, and how did you overcome it to, you know, keep doing music to this day?
Well, how I see it is when I've had those low moments, usually that means that maybe where I am is played out a little bit. And by that is maybe God is taking me in a different direction in my life. That's what happened to me. Like the end of the time that I was in New York City, like a lot of that I was really flourishing, and I had so many wonderful opportunities and great things happening. And then all of a sudden, I am telling you, things just dried up. It was just like, okay, what's happening? This is really crazy.
Yeah.
The phone's not ringing. And I really started doing some excavation, some work on myself, and praying and just asking God, what is it that you want for my life? You know, I'm a believer. And anyhow, I got some good answers. I started I made a list for myself, like things that I wanted for my life. Like, I want to go out on a major tour again. I just made a list of the things that I wanted for myself. And I'm telling you, everything that I put on that list happened.
Wow, look at God.
About what you want is everything. And
yes.
So when I was in that low moment, and I was in tears. I mean, I would be in tears occasionally over the whole thing, because I'm like, what is going on? And after I really started focusing and praying and being intentional about what I wanted, then doors started opening. But they opened in Nashville, you know. So that's basically when I moved to Nashville in 2015 at the tour with Rascal Flatts. So that drew me out of kind of that black hole I was in. And things were not easy. I mean, after the over, I had to also kind of reinvent, you know, myself in Nashville again. So, you know, it wasn't easy, but now I'm telling you, I'm busier than I've ever been in my life.
Wow.
I mean, I'm like exhausted most of the time, which is good.
It's like God just opened up the floodgates on you.
Yeah. And at this point, I had to like quit a few things because I couldn't do it all. And I was about. So now I think I've got a good balance going on, but I have a lot of musical balls in the air, so to speak. So it's exciting, you know, to have a dance single out too. And there's another song that's about to come out at Christmas, a Christmas that I demoed a couple of years ago. That's now going to be released as a single on pop radio. So I'm really proud of that. And this, my vocal
I have to give the hand claps.
Coaching, and I'm also doing some touring with this artist named Leroy Parnell, who's an amazing country blues artist, and he's won Grammys, and he's been around for a while. And anyhow, he's just a phenomenal talent. And in fact, I'm doing the Ryman this next Saturday night.
Okay.
Just a lot of different cool musical things going on, plus my vocal coaching, and then I'm also the vocal producer at this really cool church in Nashville called Cornerstone. For the team, and I also sing on the worship team. So there's just a lot of cool things I'm doing, but I love all of them. Like I love them all, you know.
Right.
But that's
that's really good. I'm glad that. Do you feel like you got pulled out of your comfort zone whenever you answered that blessing? It was like you were. Because you've never lived in Nashville, I'm assuming. You've been there maybe a few times for some shows, or
I lived in Nashville for 14 years.
Oh yeah, okay.
New York City. I was in New York City 16 years, and then back about 7 years.
So it just drew you back, and you're like, you feel like you felt like you didn't want to go back, or you just like,
you know, I felt like I would be back to Nashville at some point, but I didn't know when that would happen. Knew I would be in New York too when that happened. So I always have that little feeling, and then it happens. So
that's good. I'm glad that the blessings came your way. You were patient. And what you said earlier, you planned. You planned what you wanted. You wrote down everything that you wanted, and you spoke it into existence, and it happened for you. You know, and I think that we all should definitely do that. Like if you see here, I keep my handy laptop with me at all times. I have my DJ laptop on the side, and then I have my laptop like this on the side. So whenever I get ideas, I literally just type them on my laptop while I'm DJing sometimes. But it's crazy. But I feel that that's definitely something we all should definitely work on. Is just write the things we want to do and just pray on it. You know what I'm saying?
And you write all those things down, and then other things start popping up that you never would have even thought about, you know?
Exactly.
It's
you know, like
me being the vocal producer for this church, I was scared about that because I was like, can I really do that? Of course I've arranged vocals and done all that all my life, but to be the person to sit down with everybody and then kind of work with them on the nuance and teaching them the harmonies, and that's a whole different thing. Thinking that it's just such a it just feeds my soul. I love it, and I love the people, you know, that I get to see them speak, and you know, we worship together on Sunday mornings, and in my heart, that's my favorite thing to do. Is worship.
That's
God
really good.
in that way. It's a certain posture that you take, and that it's not about yourself, but it's about worshiping God. And so that to me, there's such beauty in that, because it doesn't have anything to do with me at all. So
it's all the blessings come from the Lord, and you know it's such a beautiful thing. I feel like when I go to church, and I definitely need to go back to church ever since you know, we're not going to say it on the episode, but y'all know the C-19 thing, and just kind of ruined everything. But now churches are back open again. Shouts out to the Potter's House. You know, that's one of my homes, and every time I go there, I just feel like, you know, a lot of empowerment there, and I love it. So definitely gonna get back into it. And I just wanted, before we go, I have a couple more things. You mentioned something about country music. I love country music. Y'all don't think listen, if y'all saw me DJ, y'all know I play some Luke Brown, some Kane Brown. You know, I play some country music. You know what I mean? I mix it in a little bit. Yeah. I need to come to Nashville. I got family up there. I don't see why I couldn't. Yeah, I need to stop by, maybe take some vocal lessons with you. For real. Well, I want to learn. I'm not a singer, but I'm on radio. You know, maybe you can help me out, give me a better radio voice. You know.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
Well, just a little hint. So.
Okay.
People tend to speak in the back of their voice like this, but if you bring it forward like this, you're going to have more control, and you're going to have not only more control, but you're going to have your voice will last you longer because you're speaking up here rather than in the back of your throat. Does that make sense?
I have to I'm gonna book a session. That's all I'm saying. Y'all need to book one too. If you want to improve your voice, if you're a singer, all my relatives in Nashville right now, if y'all watching this, hey, if y'all want to up your vocal game, book with my girl Tabitha right now. So
yes,
I got to ask you this. I got from you would you consider yourself a country singer as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So would you, and this is a big, and you've heard about this one particular song that made the charts, but they took it down because they said it wasn't country. Do you feel that Old Town Road was a legitimate country record?
I think it was a combo platter myself.
Okay.
I think it had elements that were not country, but I thought it was also country. I think soul and all that stuff is all country. I mean, honestly, it's all country.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you think they were
soul? Country.
Yeah.
It's just I do it like this.
Yeah, that's where. Yeah, exactly. Do you think they were just in taking that record down though? Because when I first heard it, I thought it was a country record. Then it had a rap beat on. I'm like, okay, this is different. But
I don't. Yeah. It down. No, they should have just left.
Yeah.
I think that's just, honestly petty. I don't do it.
Yeah, and it's funny because I've heard other country artists. I don't think it was either, and I keep mispronouncing his name. Maybe Kane Brown. There's also some other country singers I've seen when I'm scrolling through YouTube. Oh, shouts out my boy Second Chance. Y'all go check him out, country rapper. And they're considered country, and I'm just like, Lil Nas X had the same thing, but I was thinking maybe it was because it was brand new. Like maybe they weren't used to that type of country, like you said, combo platter at that magnitude. And the song blew up so fast. I'm just like, this is cool.
Billy Ray Cyrus and
that was amazing. When he hopped on that, I was like, what?
Who else was on the track?
I think it was just him and Billy Ray Cyrus. There was other remixes, but the official remix was just him and Billy Ray Cyrus. And I was like, wow, Billy Ray. Yeah, he's so nice. He came to the State Fair here at Dallas, Texas a few years ago. And, of course, Old Town Road was hot at the time. Everybody came, man. We couldn't find parking.
Honestly, I think it's good for country music. It just brings more people in. So what's the problem?
Exactly, because you know what? He did how many songs? He did like maybe 25 songs, and Old Town Road was the last one. Everything before that was, the second to last was, of course, Achy Breaky Heart. Everything else was all country, two-stepping. And you're seeing these kids get exposed to that who have never seen a live, big-time country band. And there's people two-stepping. They see their parents two-stepping and twirling, and they're like, let me try that. Let me hop in and learn some of that.
Short-sighted. They I don't know. It's like, hey, it's a new day. Everybody needs to relax and just let it happen.
Yes, exactly. Just enjoy the music, because music, if you don't like it, if it's like you said, if it's not for me, it's somebody else. Yeah, turn it off, switch the channel, you know what I mean? And if you do switch the channel, switch it to the 1's and 2's podcast with DJ Kane. We got Tabitha Fair in the building.
Thank you.
Listen, I'm like starstruck. I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Just being on my platform, it means so much to me.
I really enjoyed class today. This was so much fun.
Yeah, this is so cool. Like you, man, I'm excited. And if y'all, this is the only episode where I've been kind of nervous. Like this is crazy, but
You're killing
I'm
it.
never nervous. Whew. Well, we did a good job, I think.
I love the whole thing.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we're about what? What week is this? We've been doing pretty good. I've had 3 guests every week. And I think right now we're on week 6. And my goal is to do 10 weeks, and then we're going to evaluate everything and have everything on Spotify, YouTube, everything else, and push the ads out and build the program, and it's going to be really cool. I'm doing this because this all started out with me just interviewing a DJ friend of mine.
Oh,
just
wow.
Whatever. And people hopped in and were like, hey, y'all really got deep into that conversation. We learned a lot about DJ culture that we never knew about. So I was like, okay, the next thing you know, I got a promoter on here. Then I got a singer. And I was like, well, 1's and 2's, my perspective, their perspective. There's always a flip side to the vinyl when you flip it. So it's a 1's and 2's podcast. I'm like, okay. Then I started getting like dancers. I got a belly dancer on here. I got a chef. Just want to,
diversity, and that's so cool.
Yeah. And I think it's cool because it's like, and a lot of these people, like I got I'm not going to say his name, but he's a producer who's produced for some of the biggest hip hop artists back in the early 2000s. He's going to be here next week. And it's like, you get to understand, like, these are tangible people. Like, I could reach out to you. You're very tangible. Yeah. But you've performed with Barack Obama. Come on, y'all. With some of the top artists in the world. Yeah. But you're very tangible. And I'm like, these are the people we need to be reaching out to because they're, I think, more relatable to us. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and that's what the platform is all about, just exposing that and just having a conversation. It's just me and you right now. People notice I turn the comments off. It's just me and my guest. If y'all have questions, y'all can put them in the little question box in the bottom right. So, but yeah, that's the gist of the podcast. And, again, I want to thank you so much for coming on board. It's been a blessing. Same. And, we'll see each other soon. I know where you're at now in Nashville.
Come on.
So I'm going to come on and I'm going to get some lessons. I've never taken professional lessons before, and I really want to do it. I'm very, yeah.
Do it. Even if you're not in Nashville, we could do it online.
Okay.
But I think being in person's better,
Okay. I can fly out. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Do I book it on your, cause I found your bio on your website. Do I book it on your website?
What I'll do is I'll send you my cell number on Instagram. Okay. You just give me a call.
Okay. That sounds good. That sounds good. Well, Tabitha Fair, thank you so much. Y'all make some noise. Make sure to follow her. Check out her upcoming projects, her bio. I'm going to put all the information in the description below. If you guys are listening to this on Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, whatever platform that you caught the 1's and 2's platform on, make sure to subscribe and like first, then follow our guest. The information is in the description below. Tabitha Fair, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you so much. Speaking of teaching lessons, I got to go do that right now.
Oh, I'm going to let you get to it.
Be somewhere in 30 minutes.
All right. Well, you have a good afternoon.
All right. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.